Hello everyone. Yes, if you still remember this, that is great. If you don't, this is the battery which came out from my dad's electric scooter, the old battery pack, which is 3270 cells, so 32 millimeters by diameter and 70 millimeters by height. It's very thick. Here is a 18650, so you can compare them. You see the size difference. So nominally, last video I actually disassembled the entire battery pack to see, okay, what's inside the battery pack. And this time I'm going to evaluate the cells. I always want to evaluate these cells, but never get a chance. Luckily, my company have spare channels, which give me an opportunity to evaluate, okay, what's the performance of these cells after around 2.5 years of use. Now, so I measure two things. The first thing is the capacity, because these cells have a nominal capacity of 5 amp hour. Not large, but okay to use. Then what I'm trying to do is I also measure the internal resistance. All these cells will have internal resistance. And what I don't want is to see this internal resistance shoots up too high. Internal resistance really measures the performance as well as degradation of these cells. The last thing is, after I've done all of those, I disassembled one. Actually, technically, we disassembled one to see all the nitty-gritties inside. Say, okay, how about its capacity loss? How it has capacity loss? Is it a dangerous design? What's the pros and cons of this design, etc. So let's dive into the technical data first to see how is the capacity and the resistance go. So here's a table. So let me say, what they performed is, in order to measure the capacity, they actually performed a thing called the cyclic voltammetry, or CV, so constant current charging, then constant voltage hold. What they did is they discharge it to 3 volts, hold it for 30 minutes, then constantly charge it to 4.2 volt constant current, then constant voltage. Hold there until 0.05 C. In the time they measure temperature, especially temperature rise, and then we did 3 cycles on this. Technically, it's like a CV at 0.33 times 0.33 times the capacity. So lithium-ion battery's performance is exactly related to the rate of its charge and discharge. And that's what I find in the capacity. The capacity left is 3.34 amp hour. The nominal one is 5 amp hour labeled on the specification. So in the voltage range of from 3 volt to 4.2 volt. 4.2 volt is a maximum and 3 volt is a minimum. Any operation beyond that range would show damage to the battery cell. And then, yeah, here it is. The capacity average is at 3.34 amp hour. So we did the calculation and find the remaining capacity is only 66.8%. This is actually very, very bad for a cell which is only 2.5 years old. Normally, after 3 years of charge of your cell phone battery, it's gonna to be around 80%. And for EVs, they are designed for 10 years. After 10 years of use, probably around 1,000 more cycles, it reaches 80%. 80% technically can be called as a EOW, or end of warranty period. So if, say, in this short amount of time, these cells just get degraded too much, you can actually reclaim to the manufacturer to say, hey, your cells cannot up to the standard, and I demand a replacement. That is completely normal. That's your authority. The temperature rise is not too much. The energy is simply the integral of capacity times voltage, but voltage is always at range. So the key thing here is still the capacity, or say the amp hour, how many charge it can hold. It's just like a glass, which how much water you can hold. So 3.34 is pretty bad, I would say. And then let's look at the internal resistance. So the internal resistance at 50% is 33 milliohm. This is actually, again, pretty large, because for my company cell, which we get, the internal resistance is normally around single digit. It's normally single digit for even for these small cylindrical cells, 18650. We expect something which is no more than 20 milliohm, but this one is literally double. And don't forget, this cell is actually, I think, 5 times larger than this. So not 5 times larger in capacity, but 5 times larger in size. So technically it should have a smaller resistance, but it's not. And here is the graph below. You can see for cell number 1 and cell number 2. Both of them have a resistance around 33.5 milliohm at 50%. But at the low end and the high end, it shoots up to 40, and this one looks like goes to 45. That is pretty large. Normally, it is expected that these cells, probably when they are fresh, they are around 20 milliohm, which is still large. Then it literally doubled through their entire lifetime. So we want to see why, what caused this, and then we performed the disassembly, and it's fascinating because I always want to disassemble these cells. Never disassembled cylindrical cells before, especially this size. And yeah, let's look at my video about disassembly. The video quality might not be as good because the room is dimly lit, but I would explain it a little bit more in detail. So this is the 3270 cells we are going to disassemble today. Yeah, you see it's big compared with those 18650s. First thing first is there is a piece of this called cotton paper on it. So we are going to peel it off. 先把那个切成圆出来。Now that is actually at pack level for this. This is the cell body. We see the heat shrink outside and the plastic insulator ring there. Then let's go there. 先把膜撕掉吧。注意点。先把膜撕掉。这应该是钢壳的吧？嗯。我跟你说。那你切吧。这是专家。Just like peeling fish. There you go. So once the cell is freshly offline, it's like this. Steel can, top cap, and once we remove the top cap, we see this. Did I see corrosion on it? I think these are actually corrosion on it. And this is called the groove. It is going to crumple the top cap onto the can. And let me take some pictures. Yeah, it might not be from electrolyte. It might from air. Let's make a wipe and see whether it can be wiped out. it's probably just dirt.
水。
So indeed, it's corrosion.
防爆没有开启，电芯应该。
你是看得出防爆阀没开的，对吧？
能。通过这个孔，然后它那个是凹下去，如果是凸起来的，是塞滴已经断开了。
So there is a venting valve built in, and it's still in place. So at least the can is still maintaining its complete seal at pressure. Go. So that's a groove. And then let's stay away. For the heck it will explode. Rotating the sail. Tighten a little bit more and rotate. A little bit more and rotate. It depends on how thick the can is, but this one looks not very thick. Okay, box. I say it's like a canister. It indeed is like a canister. Looks like a...哎，小心！短了，打火了已经。Single tab。用金属疲劳，不 OK，不用。Looks like it's multi-tab design. It really looks like it's a multi-tab design. Let me take a picture. We cut it off. Okay. So that's the can body. While this is the top cap. Let's continue. So you do remember the neck there, and this is what we are going to do. We are going to peel off the can neck technically.
你的这是体力。那也别到了这里。
哦，小心割膜。So that white one is already the separation layer, so we need to be extremely careful there. Okay, put it out. What's the packaging in this one?
电阻焊。
So indeed, it's spot resistive welding below. Super low tech. 这个漏爆了。Here you go. Let's see it. Entire row.
不对，你把应该把自己放在上面。
你就这么放吧，人家一样，怎么跟着一样？让别人一扯放这儿。
不是，你这样的话，你怎么知道自己对的是哪个？对着户籍什么位置？
走啊！
这
is the positive electrode of cathode.
就这个负极对的是正极。
这是正极吗？
对，这是正极的
负极吗？
对，然后对负极，然后这几
This
片
is the positive electrode, negative electrode of cathode anode.
正极掉粉。
And we are rolling. The active material is already peeled off from the collector onto the separator
这
material.
么偏正极很容易掉。
这个浸润也就一般性。OK，
极片断了。
很脆啊。
然后它是吉尔对吉尔，你看了吗？
哦。So current collector tab to current collector tab.
正极这个是要么是徒步，要么是鬼压，效果不太好。
很垃圾的这个电线。
这个吉尔。
总共有。So let's look at what's inside the core. That's the rolled up separators. Oh. So that's the anode copper. Copper current collector. 先把正极材料拿走吧。There you go. Cancel it off. Then there's a layer of separator here. 也粘住了。小心不要碰到那个孔。掉粉掉的很严重。
你都到射无烟的尽头了。
这是吸力吗？So this is disassembly. Even when it's hard to focus, but you can see. Even with the cell nearly fully discharged, it still have disassembly white marks on these edges. And I would say it's close to the tab, so close to the current collector where the current is high. That's definitely not a good sign. This is a phenomenon when cell series debris. So we are disassembling the top cap now. It 它那层黑色的是啥？
绝缘的。
绝缘片对吧？
这不是正极吗？这个是负极。所以这
就靠那层绝缘对吧？
对。
Give it a shot. That's the negative part, and this is the positive part. You see the plastic ring there? That's the only thing which is separating the positive and negative that they want short circuit. OK, peel this off. There's another cap. 这层呢，这个也是绝缘的吗？还是极密封的？
这个应该是密封的这个。
Just a rubber piece, probably designed for seal. Phóng bó. 你现在在割的就是防爆阀吗
CID 他们叫。
对。Circuit interrupter device.
一般来说是开上麦吧，但是这样的话容易温度把它打开的时候，两边能让到死。上麦浪是什么？对，就是麦浪，一般就是把麦浪油丢下来。对对。
Wow.
就这样。
Three layers.
气压太大的时候，它就从刻痕这边
So
断。
here is the CID, which
还有这个。
it has an edge in the middle, and then pop up. 是这样的吗？
这一层是啥我不知道。
那层就纯粹一个，这个你这个里面你看一下里边是什么颜色，解开看一下。
这就。
This is top cap.
这个是防爆
You
片。
can see the very serious corrosion on it.
这个隔点。
That's another reason probably why the resistance is so large.
对，然后这个中间它裂开这个是防爆片，然后这个点是 CID。你看，如果是黑色的话，就是 PTC； 如果不是黑色的话，那就是。
这个我之前没见过这个。
那就是纯粹一个垫片，不用看了，就是一个垫片 ，CID 没那么硬。
垫片这就是。
对。
就是只是为了填补一个空间呢，可能。
对，它就是一个垫的，那解不开，那就一个垫片。CID 的话很容易搞开的，那 PTC 的话很容易搞开。
好，就这么简单。
OK. Brutally simple, as my colleagues describe.
中间这个焊点就是 CID.
The only welding in middle, the tiny spot.
我们所谓的 CID 断开，对，然后它的 CID 一旦断开的话，它的电流就已经断开了。
对。
然后如果内部气压进去增大的话，就是这一个圈儿，防爆开启嘛，防爆片是这个样子，没了。
So my colleague performed it. If the venting pressure is reached, the cell internal temp pressure is too large, this one will pop, and the side will open like this. And originally, you see the circuit is connected on this side, and once like this, the circuit will disconnect, isolate the battery from the rest of them. So even if the internal short circuited, it won't external shorted the parallel group of cells. Alright, that's the end of this entire disassembly. I finally did a great walkthrough of my entire dad's electric scooter battery, and this is not yet the limit I want to go. I want to go even further. I actually want to get out the cathode material, which is nickel, cobalt, manganese oxide, probably, and then do an ICP on it to see its composition. But that would be very expensive and tedious, and I'm sure I would have no chance for my company to do it, just to get the juicy part, so I'm giving that up. Luckily, now you can see I have these two batteries on my shelf now, so they will be stacked on my collection, and I'm hoping it to grow further and further. Yeah. I wish you enjoy this video. My friends are calling me, and then bye bye.